The Chase Ink Preferred is one of those cards that I've had on the back burner for quite some time now, and although it constantly offers a pretty competitive welcome offer, it just requires so much spend that I haven't really thought much of it. However, I'm sitting at a point now where I've recently used a ton of my Chase Ultimate Rewards points, therefore I'm in need of a new Chase Ink credit card as that's a big part of my strategy. So since the Chase Ink Preferred has a limited time offer, now seems like the most opportune time to go for it. Until now, I have been on a 14 credit card streak of getting automatically approved for all of the cards that I apply for, and the more and more that I get approved, the closer I feel like I'm getting to actually getting that first denial. So maybe today's the day. I'm going to be breaking this video down into 4 main sections. Part 1 will be a brief review of the Chase Ink Preferred. That way you can tell if it's a card that maybe you should go for or not. Part 2 is going to be about why I'm personally applying for this card in particular. Part 3 will be my data points before applying for the card so you can see how you stack up against me. And then part 4 will be the live application with tips on how you can get approved if you want to go for this card yourself. And those tips apply whether or not I do get approved, so I still think it's worth a listen. So let's go ahead and dive into part 1, which is the review of the Chase Ink Preferred. For starters, this card has a $95 annual fee, and it's kind of like the last piece of the puzzle for the Chase Ink trifecta. Not the Chase trifecta on the personal side that we always talk about, the Chase Freedom Unlimited, Chase Freedom Flex, and Chase Sapphire Preferred. This is the third card making up the business side of that trifecta, that being, of course, the Chase Ink Preferred, Chase Ink Cash, and Chase Ink Unlimited. As for its welcome offer, it's currently offering 120,000 points for spending $8,000 in the first 3 months of having it, which is a 15 to 30% return on spend if you take anything from a 1 to 2 cent per point valuation for your Chase points. It does usually have a base offer for 100,000 points for the exact same amount of spend, so still very competitive. That's a 12.5% to 25% return on spend, but of course those extra 20,000 points definitely don't hurt. As for its earning categories, this card's going to give you 3x back on a ton of categories, those being travel, shipping, internet, cable, and phone services, advertising, which is what this card is mainly known for, and 1x back on everything else, plus a promotional 5x back on Lyft rides through March of 2025. As for additional benefits this card offers, for one, it will give you a 25% boost on your Chase Ultimate Rewards points when you book travel through Chase's travel portal using this card. So for example, these 120,000 points used through the Chase travel portal with this card would be worth $1,500. However, the better way to use your Chase Ultimate Rewards points in many cases is going to be through their transfer partners, and this card also does give you access to those partners, similar to the Chase Sapphire Preferred and Chase Sapphire Reserve on the personal side. Further than that, this card's going to give you cell phone protection of up to $1,000 per incident if you pay for your cell phone bill with this card. Note here that the Chase Ink Cash will give you a higher multiplier for your cell phone services at 5x back, but it does not give you cell phone protection. So for many people, including myself, I'd rather put my cell phone bill on this card instead, get a little bit lower of a return on spend, but have that cell phone protection covered so I don't have to pay for that with my service provider. It also has primary car rental insurance, which is huge, especially for travel credit cards, because not every single travel credit card offers you this, but it is a very nice benefit to have. And just to quickly explain what this even means for you, just know that you can deny the car rental insurance at the counter whenever they offer it to you. So this can be a big savings every year if you put your car rentals on this card. It also has a ton of other travel and retail related protections with no foreign transaction fee as well, which is actually something that's pretty helpful considering Chase's other business credit cards do have a foreign transaction fee, at least the Chase Ink Cash and Unlimited. And with the perks and benefits that this card gives you, I could actually see it being the one that you slot in for your overall Chase trifecta, even if that means you have the Chase Freedom Unlimited and Chase Freedom Flex on the personal side, but pull in the Chase Ink Preferred as that final piece that gives you access to Chase's transfer partners at the same $95 annual fee that the Chase Sapphire Preferred has as well. Now, as with all of my new credit cards, I need a good way to track my spend towards the minimum spending requirement that these cards have, and that's where my credit card management app of choice comes into play, that of course being Max Rewards. Max Rewards is an all-in-one credit card management app that allows you to track things like your total card balances, point balances, bill due dates, and more, all in one convenient interface, even if your cards come from a multitude of lenders. As I mentioned, one of my favorite perks about Max Rewards is that they do give you the ability to create welcome bonus trackers, as well as other types of trackers as well, so that even if the lender that you're applying for a card from doesn't give you any way to track the spend towards that minimum spending requirement, you can still do exactly that with Max Rewards. Personally, this has always just helped me plan out my spend accordingly because, as we know, if you're not hitting the minimum spending requirements for a welcome offer, you're kind of just wasting a credit card application, at least in my opinion. While Max Rewards does have a ton of other free features, I personally do pay for Max Rewards Gold to not only automatically activate my quarterly rotating categories for me on my cards like my Chase Freedom Flex, but it will also automatically activate all of my credit card offers for me as long as the cards are syncing to the app. And specific to annual fee cards like this one, they have a tab in the Max Rewards Gold section called Card Value that will show you exactly how much value you've gotten from your card in its card member year or the calendar year, so you can see whether or not you should keep it open for a second year, and I'm going to use that for this card specifically. But overall, even if you just want to try out the free features of Max Rewards, please be sure to download it through the link in my description, and during the sign up that process, if you enter the promo code Spencer, you'll get a 1-month discount off of your annual Max Rewards Gold subscription if you do ever decide to upgrade. Thank you to Max Rewards for sponsoring this video, but let's get back into the content. Okay, now let's move into part 2, why I'm applying for this card. In reality, there is one big reason that I'm applying for this card, and that is that I need Chase Ultimate Rewards points. As I've talked about recently in one of my videos, I've redeemed over 500,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards points this year, which leaves me desperate for a new Chase credit card welcome offer. As I'll touch on more here in a little bit, I initially plan on applying for the Chase Ink Cash right now to lock in 75,000 points for spending $6,000 in 3 months. And to be honest, the only real reason I wanted that card was for the welcome offer. I already have a Chase Ink Cash. That's really the only purpose it was going to serve me. So with that being my only goal right now, the fact that the Chase Ink Preferred gives me 45,000 more points for a little bit more spend over those 3 months makes it just the better card for me to go for right now. It's funny because in making this video, I wanted to give y'all multiple reasons as to why I'm applying for this card, but this is all I could really come up with. Yes, this card has great things to offer like the elevated earning categories, the travel and retail protections, and the ability to transfer your points out to Chase's travel partners, but as y'all know, I already have all of this covered. The only real unique benefits I can see myself using from this card is one, the fact that it has no foreign transaction fees, and it's a business credit card specifically, because both my Chase Ink Cash and Unlimited do have foreign transaction fees, which means I can't use them abroad unless I want to pay that fee. So this one does actually help me out here. And secondly, I actually could use that cell phone protection and the 3x back that I get for putting my cell phone bill on this card. And this is because right now I'm putting my cell phone bill on my Bilt MasterCard, which is only giving me 1x back, but I wanted to use it to help me get towards that 5 minimum transactions in a month requirement that they have. And that's really just because I wasn't getting much better with any of my other cards, so I was okay with taking that little bit of a hit. But now that this card is going to give me 3 times the value and give me better cell phone protection than the Bilt MasterCard, makes it an easy one to swap in for this situation. I really say all of this to say that the Chase Ink Preferred could actually be like a daily spend credit card that you use, but my main focus in the credit card game right now is to apply for multiple welcome offers on new cards as frequently as I can, really. Hence why I'm not going to be using this card a ton outside of those reasons I just mentioned. But either way, whether you're somebody that's playing the game like I am right now, or you're somebody that actually would use this card a ton, I do think while this card's in an elevated welcome offer period, or even sometimes when it's not, it really is a very solid card that I feel like doesn't get talked about that much. Now, before we move on from this section, I do want to mention how this card impacts my credit card roadmap, which y'all know I care a lot about. And as some of y'all may remember if you've watched my most recent video on this, next up, I had the Chase Ink Cash on my roadmap. However, this was of course before we knew that the Chase Ink Preferred would have an elevated welcome offer on it. And as of right now, the Chase Ink Cash and Chase Ink Unlimited do not have elevated welcome offers on them. So that's why I decided to change my strategy here. This is exactly why I stress the importance of roadmaps on my channel though, because if I hadn't planned on going for any Chase business credit card right now, I could very well be way above Chase's 524 rule, which would lock me out of their cards and not allow me to possibly earn 120,000 Chase points. That could have obviously been a pretty big miss, which is why I recommend so strongly that you make your own roadmaps as well. After this card though, I do not plan on applying for any more until I apply for the Southwest cards come November or December, which is when I'm going for the Southwest Companion Pass. So really the only thing that this changed on my roadmap was swapping out the Chase Ink Cash for this Chase Ink Preferred. And as long as everything goes well here, all I'll be doing is spending $2,000 more than initially planned, but getting 45,000 more Chase points, which definitely does help me out here. Let's move into part 3 now, which are going to be my data points before applying for the card. My last personal credit card I applied for was the Citi Strata Premier back in May of 2024. My last business credit card that I applied for was the Amex Business Gold card at the end of March. As for my 524 status, the first thing I want to mention is that if you don't know what the Chase 524 rule is, it basically just states that if you've been approved for 5 or more personal credit cards from any lender in the past 24 months, Chase will automatically deny you for your next credit card application with them. And at the beginning of July, so just about a month ago, I officially dropped back down to 424, opening up my possibilities to get more Chase credit cards. And the reason I'm going for a Chase business credit card in particular is because business credit cards will not add to your 524 account. At least most business credit cards won't, including the Chase business cards. So this will keep me at 424 until I'm ready to go for the Southwest cards in November or December, like I just mentioned. I'm definitely going to want to be holding on to this status too, because I don't drop back under 524 after those Southwest cards until March of 2025. So again, really good thing I did roadmap out my setup and realize that that was going to be the case, or I would have been completely screwed on this offer and would have had to just pass on it. As for my credit scores and hard inquiry counts with each of the 3 bureaus, with TransUnion, I'm sitting at a 763 with 3 hard inquiries. With Equifax, I'm at a 767 with 1 hard inquiry. And with Experian, I'm sitting at a 740 with 3 hard inquiries. Last note before we get into the application itself, I always have all of my credit reports frozen until I actually want to go apply for a new loan. And although sometimes I'll only thaw out like one of my credit reports to try to force a lender to pull from that bureau specifically, this time I'm going to go ahead and thaw all of them out because I do not want to have to deal with Chase's reconsideration line. And for those of y'all wondering how to freeze or thaw your credit report, I'll do a quick example here with my Experian account, and just know that you can do the exact same thing with the other credit bureaus if you just create a free account with all of them. And before I do that example, I want to mention too that I am only okay with applying for this credit card right now and having a hard inquiry hit my credit report while giving me a temporary ding to my credit score, which will recover very quickly, is because I'm not looking at getting a mortgage or a car loan or anything like that in the next 3 months. And honestly, it's going to be a lot longer than that. So that's why I'm okay with having a high velocity of credit card applications right now. Okay, with that all being said, let's go ahead and dive into part 4, which is the live application of this card. I'm going to start by thawing out my Experian credit report on camera so you can see exactly how this process works. Okay, so I went ahead and logged into my Experian account here. You can see that right now my file is frozen. All I'm going to do is click schedule a thaw because I'm just going to do a temporary lift. Once again, click add a thaw. Then you select the date range. So I'll schedule it to thaw out today and pick back up just on Sunday because I only need it for today, really. Save that. And then there you go. My thaw is scheduled. That's literally all you have to do. It'll refreeze on August 4th and I'll be good to go. Okay, and now I've navigated over to the Chase Ink Preferred application page, which I should have a referral link for down below. But if not, you can always DM me for any credit card links that you need. And that's a free way to support the channel. So I really appreciate y'all if you do use those. As we can see, it does have the limited time offer of 120,000 points after spending $8,000 in the first 3 months of having it. So I can click on apply now and know that I'm in the right place. Now I'm going to quickly explain the entire application so you know, again, exactly how to fill it out and have the best odds of getting approved. And either way, if I get approved or denied, these tips do apply. So I hope you learn a little bit of something from this. As for the personal info here at the top, it's very self-explanatory. I don't really think I need to mention much. You'll basically just fill this out as you would, any application for anything in life. No special tricks here. Until you get down to the total gross annual income, this is probably the most confusing section of the personal info section, at least. And all you really need to know is what it says here at the bottom. The first line here says, this is what you earn or reasonably expect to earn in a year. And if you're 21 or older and regularly use income from others to pay your bills, you can include that too. So basically, this just means that it's the highest estimate of what you do get paid. You, of course, don't want to lie on this part because they could ask to verify it somehow, like through bank statements or what have you. But if you expect to have certain raises or bonuses in the next year, those are the types of things that can be included here and could theoretically give you a higher credit limit or increase your approval odds, since it will give you a lower debt to income ratio. But again, just be honest with it, like the entire application, and you should be good. Coming down to the business info, this is where things do get a little bit more tricky. The legal business structure here is one that you're going to choose based on your business. If you're somebody that wants to apply for this card just as a sole proprietor, meaning that you just use your social security number and you don't need any kind of EIN or anything like that, you can do so right here. But for somebody like myself, I will be applying as a limited liability company since I do have an LLC for the business in which I'm applying for this card under. Then you enter your business legal name and desired business name on card. You can put whatever you want here. I usually just put the exact same thing because I don't want to get confused. I just put the same name for both. It then asks you if you have another business name that your business uses. This doesn't necessarily mean one that you just call it, one that you make up. This is something you have to put on your application whenever you start the business. So for most of us, this answer is going to be no, including myself. And then for your tax ID type, if you're somebody applying as a sole proprietor, once again, you can just put your social security number here, and that's all they need to see in order to approve you for the card. For me, I'll be putting my EIN here since that's something that I do have for the business and I want everything routed through that. Then it just asks you if your business address is the same as your personal address. That's an easy answer. And do note that this is going to be where they send your credit card to, so you want it to be a physical address that you can actually receive mail at. It asks for your number of employees after that, and if you're just the only employee, you just enter 0. And that's right next to your business phone number, which could be your personal if you don't have like a real business. After that, you have the business established date, which is something you may have to think back on because it could be hard to figure out exactly when you started your business. But this isn't exactly when you started making money. This is whenever you started the business itself. And technically, the longer that you've had the business, the better in getting approved for credit cards. But again, don't lie about this. Just put what is actually accurate. Now, annual business revenue is going to be explained exactly how I did the personal income section. You want to put the highest number here possible while being completely reasonable with it. For businesses, sometimes it's really hard to estimate exactly how much money you're going to make from the business in the next year, but that's what you use projections for. And as long as you can justify those projections, if the bank was to ask you about that, that's really all that matters. So again, higher number the better, but be realistic. Business category, business type, business subtype, all these are somewhat confusing for sure, but they give you a ton of options here that you can choose from, and theoretically you should find one pretty easily that fits your type of business. And I wouldn't worry too much about this. I try to put the exact same thing on all of my business business credit card applications just to keep things simple. But that NAICS code that does get popped out at the end sometimes just isn't exactly the same as the past application, and I've never had an issue with that. But as you can see, if I just put in like an information type business like the one that I have, it'll automatically fill in this NAICS code, so don't worry too much about that section. You don't need to look anything up. It'll just do it for you. Next up is the estimated monthly spend, which is an important value because this can determine what your credit limit is going to be, at least partially. So if you put something like $0 for your estimated monthly spend or something really low, then they don't really have any incentive to give you a high credit limit on the card. But this is, again, completely an estimation, so it's kind of hard to say exactly. Just put your best guess. And then percent of ownership should be pretty straightforward. For most of us, that's going to be 100, so that's just what you go with. Finally, it asks if you want to add any employee cards, and then whether or not you want to go paperless. Gives you all the pricing information down here, including your APRs, the annual membership fee, of course, and then the transaction and penalty fees. As we know, no foreign transaction fees, which is huge for this card, for me at least. And the penalty fees are something I never worry about because we're always going to be making our payments on time and in full on every single one of our cards. If you don't do that, you're already losing the credit card game and you shouldn't apply for this card in the first place. So with that spiel out of the way, that's basically the entire application here. All you have to do after that is check that you've read and agreed to the above, and you can submit the application. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in all of my personal details here and get back to y'all whenever I'm ready to click submit. Oh, looks like I also forgot to mention real quick the authorizing officer title up at the top here. Sometimes it can be confusing if you're applying under your SSN and stuff. It really doesn't matter what you put here for the most part. I always put owner since I'm a single member LLC. But if you're in any other type of business where maybe you're just a partner, you can put that here. Okay, now I'm going to fill this out. Okay, now with everything filled out and this box checked, I can go ahead and click submit and see if we're going to get approved for this card. I honestly don't know what to expect. I have multiple other Chase business cards and Chase personal cards, so I'm hoping that that helps me. But if they've been extending me too much credit, it could actually hurt me in the long run. So I guess we're about to find out together here in 3, 2, 1, submit. And the wheel of fortune commences. Let's see here. What do y'all think? Leave your comments below. Pause the video. Well, there we go. That's better than I expected. That's the biggest limit by far that Chase has ever given me. And I was going to say that's only true for my business cards. It's definitely true for those cards, but it's actually my highest limit with Chase in general. So that's actually really cool to see. It says that my card should arrive within 5 to 7 business days. I am going to call them after making this video to see if they can expedite the card just so I can start using it quicker. And of course, the full activation process and everything like that is going to be covered in the unboxing video. So stay tuned for that in a week or so. We'll see how long it takes to get the card in. I hope y'all enjoyed this one. If you do want to see me apply for some of the other most popular credit cards on the credit card market, go ahead and click into this playlist next. And as always, Odin and I both want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.